going on 38 years later. When he gets to church, he is placed in the middle of an argument. Because the religious folk were mad that the man got healed on the Sabbath. They say this goes against our custom. This is not our tradition. This is not our belief. This is not what's supposed to happen. And this man really opens up new options for the people who've been in the same condition, maybe not at the pool sick, but in the community sick and in the church just as sick for a long time. And he gets ridiculed for it. The brother really shows the church that if I can have faith and my options open up while I'm in church, then sick folk won't hang out in the pool rooms. They'll start hanging out in church where change can happen in their lives, because this is where the faithful ought to gather. He gets to church and he discovers that not everybody is celebrating his recovery. The man is challenged. Healing took place on the Sabbath. He says, well, I know it's a violation of the custom, but I'm just as healed. Says, he never backs off of his responsibility for why he's where he is today. He says, I met this man, and this man told me to rise up and take up my bed and walk. And so I walked right here in the church, and like it or not, here I am. Well, you would understand the answer that this man gives if you had been laying on the same thing for 38 years. But now the shout is this: while he is in church, Jesus shows up again. And I believe there's a few folk in here that need Jesus to show up again. Look at somebody, tell them, I need him to show up again. I need him to show up again. If the man had abandoned his faith, Jesus wouldn't have shown up again. But because he stuck with his active faith in Jesus, never minded what folk were ridiculing him about, Jesus showed up and showed out again. And Jesus says, I see you doing good, brother. The man says, yes, I am. And Jesus says, well, you keep on living the way I told you to live. And if you don't live this way, then something bad, something worse is going to happen to you. Pastor, where is Jesus? Jesus is wherever you decide to live by faith. Jesus shows up at the point of your faith decision. Jesus shows up every time you say, I'm going to do this by faith and not by sight. When you activate your faith in Christ, that's when Jesus shows up. And maybe the reason why some of y'all ain't seen Jesus yet is because you haven't activated your faith. But is there anybody here that says, Pastor, I need him to show up again? Gabe, this is where I cut across the field, right here, right here. I stick with Jesus because I know that faith in Christ always gives me more options. Let the church say more options. More options. I was in the post office right before Christmas in Charlotte, checking on the status of a package, and man, a few people ahead of me in line was in such a hurry to get whatever he had come for and get out of the post office. And he was rushing everybody in front of him, and when it came his turn to come up to the counter, he ran up to the counter with money in his hand, and he said, I just need some stamps. I need a book of stamps. I need a book of stamps. And he was trying to rush the lady behind the counter. Already had his money. He was about to throw it on the counter, trying to rush the woman. And she was clearly not impressed. She was a sister. She was not impressed with this man trying to rush her. And so she kind of looked at the money he had thrown down there, and she went on back over to where they kept the stamps, and she was taking her time, and she paused and said, well, sir, what kind of stamps do you want? Man was frustrated. She was taking her time, and she said, well, we have sports stamps, we have politician stamps, we got singer stamps, we got historical places stamps, we got astronaut stamps, Do you want Christmas tree stamps? We got automobile stamps. We got famous places stamps. She said, what kind of stamps do you want? The man said, with all of these options, I don't know which ones I want. I don't know which one I want to choose. The lady said, well, sir, I guess you're going to have to keep coming until you try all of the stamps. Well, can I tell you that we've been running the church week after week, and we've been coming here, and we just need a healing and the answer. We just need a blessing, and I've been showing up every week to tell you, well, I guess what kind of stamps do you want? Do you want God to make a way? Do you want God to open up doors? Do you want God to heal you when you're sick? You said, Pastor, give me whatever he got. And I keep telling you, just like the lady told that man, well, I guess you're going to have to keep coming until you get everything you're looking for. And do I have anybody here that says I got to keep coming to church? I got to keep showing up until God brings my mountain down and brings my valley up. I got to keep coming to church until God makes ways out of no ways and opens doors for me that nobody can close. Do I have a witness here that says I'm not going to spend one more day at a pool, but I'm going to activate my faith in God? And I have discovered that without faith it's impossible to please God. So what I'm going to do is I'm declaring that I'm not spending one more day at a pool. Won't you pull on somebody? Tell them no more pools. No more pools. 2013, I got stuck at that pool. But in this brand new year, there'll be no more pools. This is my last day. I wish I had somebody that could declare in your own life, this is my last day. I declare I'll never spend one more day stuck at a pool. Shout yes! Shout yes! Shout yes! No more pools. High five somebody and tell them no more pools. No more pools. No more pools. This is my